Good morning, dear siblings, friends of siblings, and parents of siblings. My name is Kitty Saul, and I'm here to discuss a question that is widely asked but rarely answered. How do I become a better sibling? It might be because of the silent expectation that everyone seems to have of sibling relations just working themselves out over time. But this topic, along with our brothers and sisters, can be taken for granted. Allow me to introduce the 4 different types of relationships and convince you that the path to a more supportive and beneficial relationship is entirely in your control. Who am I to say this? Well, for one, I have a younger sister that's 6 years younger than me. I'm sure she'd agree with me if I said that I'm the one who controls the dynamic of our relationship. If I'm in a good mood, I'm likely to be more generous and playful with her, but if I'm not having the best day, then my negative emotions will probably affect hers too. What I'm trying to get to here is that if every sibling made the conscious effort to be in the good mood and to control their emotions, then lots of conflict, misunderstanding, and bottled up feelings can be avoided. Before we attempt to find out how to be better siblings, we should first understand the different types of relationships. Sibling relationships come in several broad types, and it's important to remember that each type is a simplification of a near infinite variety of relationships. These 4 generalized categories are measured on a scale of hostility and on a scale of warmth. Those who exhibit more warmth towards their siblings are directly better at socializing with their peers, as they've experimented with and have had more success with their sibling interactions. On the other hand, those who engage in violence, name-calling, and stealing with their siblings are much more likely to become aggressive, anxious, and even lonely. The most desirable relationship by parents, for sure, is the harmonious relationship. Characterized by high levels of warmth and low levels of hostility, these siblings get along famously. Research has also found that the sibling pairs most likely to exhibit the harmonious relationship are 2 sisters as opposed to the 2 other types. Additionally, older brothers have also been better initiators of a harmonious relationship. The direct opposite type to harmonious is the hostile relationship. Marked by high levels of physical and verbal violence, these relationships are likely to be causes of low academic success, social incompetence, and severe self-doubt. However, it's important to note and realize that these hostile relationships could be motivated by competition for parental attention, respect, and love. The 3rd sibling type is the affect-intense relationship. Affect meaning the facial emotions and physical reactions associated in emotion. These relationships can be as intense as hostile relationships too. Finally, the uninvolved relationship, which is characterized by low levels of both hostility and warmth. These relationships typically don't have any of the problems associated with the affect-intense or hostile relationship, as that is the problem itself. Uninvolved relationships are more likely to foster between children with an older age gap and as well as later in adulthood. Now that you've heard the balance behind hostility and warmth behind each type of relationship, what kind do you want to foster for yourself, your sibling, and for your family? Because at the end of the day, sibling relationships are just another ordinary relationship that gets reflected into the other aspects of your behavior. The first and most important step to forming a peaceful relationship is a mental desire. How can you make the difficult decision and grand effort to want a better relationship in the first place? Well, keep in mind that your siblings are among the few people who will accompany you from childhood to old age. You have so much in common. Siblings share about 50% of their genes and even more of their experiences. Because of them, you'll learn to appreciate or even manipulate your role in their lives. Take advantage of the fact that they like you more than your parents, that they look up to you from all aspects of life, and then they will probably never give up on you, despite the number of times you brutally reject them. According to Jonathan Caspi, a professor of family science at Montclair State University, a sibling is a fellow traveler in life and a unique link to one's past. What would you say is one of humans' most common greatest fears? I definitely consider old age to be near the top. Along with old age comes the potential loss of hearing, vision, and memory. For some people, this time may be very difficult without someone who's been by their side since day one. But with a perpetual friend and a supportive sibling to help one recall life's best moments, they might just find themselves relieved of their other concerns. Before you tune me out because you think these problems will be resolved as soon as adulthood comes, think again. According to 2014's US Census data, 80% of children in the United States live with a biological, adopted, or step sibling. Then, if we compare that to a Dutch study on the frequency that brothers and sisters contact each other in adulthood, a surprising 13% don't contact each other more than once a year. Here's some of the first steps you can take to avoid being that 13% in adulthood. Number 1, let go of grudges by assuming good intentions. Most of the time, we automatically assume the motive of our siblings to be harmful to us. However, if we give them the benefit of the doubt, then they'd feel more safe to share their side of the disagreement. Another preventative measure of hostile relationships is avoiding comparison. You can think of you and your sibling both being responsible for the successes and struggles met by the both of you. Finally, for the parents out there, my biggest advice would be to try to give your siblings a one-on-one time. This might seem counterintuitive and another opportunity for disaster, but your presence is what gives them to think it's okay to begin this fight and it's safe and that you'll resolve it for them. At the end of the day, you don't need anyone to tell you how you're going to spend your life with your sibling longer than any other human being. You also don't need anyone to tell you how you don't feel good after treating them like they're not an extension of yourself, because to a certain extent, they are. What I hope to instill in you today is a sense of responsibility to proudly and thoroughly take on the role of being a sibling. Why not start by walking away from this and putting one of the strategies in use? Whether it's giving your sibling the benefit of the doubt, celebrating their success together, or spending some one-on-one time. Thank you.